Hello, everyone. Today, it's funny, I usually do lives and channelings and stuff in the morning, but today has just been such a culmination of, there's just been downloads kind of, like all day, it feels like, and I was like, wow, I guess today Venus and, hey Beck, I guess today Venus and Uranus are conjunct. And I'm like, I wonder what the Sabian symbol for this is, because what has been coming through for me is the aspects of Ahriman and Lucifer. And I don't know if any of you study Rudolf Steiner's work or anthroposophy, but he talks about these two forces, Lucifer and Ahriman. And Lucifer is the force that pulls us out of our body and pulls us back into oneness, and is really like this super hyper spiritual force, and it's very connected to the mind, and also it's all about just like sort of like liberation in a way. And then we have Ahriman, which is hyper materialistic and does not see any spirituality. And so either way, if you lean super into Ahrimanic forces, you fall into delusion. And if you lean too far into Luciferic forces, you fall into delusion as well. And so the message that was really coming through strong was to meet somewhere in the middle. You know, we're always trying to find balance in life. It's never going to just be perfect. But how important it is for us to really be on earth and be embodied in our human bodies and to use our will to create. So, you know, if you lean too far into Ahrimanic forces, you give up your free will to tyranny, control, technology. If you lean too far into Luciferic forces, you give away your will to the spiritual world. And in my opinion, the goal is to align with divine will, but claim your own free will and create. Use that divine will as your inspiration to move forward embodied in your life and make a difference here on the earthly plane. So it's like we're using both forces because you need structure, you need rules at some point, and you also need flow, fluidity, spirituality. You need to, you know, be flexible. So get this. I looked up the Sabian symbol for this conjunction today, and it is a battle between the swords and the torches. And this was just like too perfect. It's about confronting inner duality. So I see the torches as Luciferic, you know, Lucifer, the light bringer, the torch, the flame. And that's like the inspiration. And the, you know, I'm seeing like the burning of the dross, the burning away of the heavy stuff. That's what Lucifer wants to do. He wants us to dematerialize. But then we have the sword, which is like this hard steel. And again, it's the intellect. It's technology. It's the rules. It cuts through. And that is like the Ahrimanic force. So it feels like Uranus conjunct Venus. This is what, you know, I was like, I'm just going to come on and see what comes through, because I don't want to overthink this. But it feels like an alignment of our desires. So Uranus is the higher mind. And that would sort of be like a Luciferic force. Aligning with divine will. And I guess it's about sort of looking at what is it that you desire and what is it aligned with. Is it more of a overly self-serving desire, or are you giving away too much? You know, it's about like finding this balance. So I think I'm going to pull some cards just to get like a little bit more information about this. But one of the other descriptions of the Sabian symbol says life is a struggle between external and internal opposing forces. And so it's just like that, the yin and the yang, you know, and like the Pisces energy. I was actually thinking this reminds me of Saturn in Pisces, because he's trying to find his way in all of this, like in this world, this spiritual world where everything exists. Change. Uranus is like the king of change. He's the sky god. And we see, like, it's interesting because when I look at this card, I see us sort of floating away with our dreams. Interestingly enough, it feels like it's possibly a time to really lean into what are your wildest dreams. I kind of want to get a little bit of clarity on this, because what I feel like I was taking away from this was how important, you know, and a lot of times in spirituality, the term ascension is something that I've really wrestled with myself, because the impression that I get from it is that you are basically ascending out of this realm. And another way, I mean, I'd love to know how you guys define that word for yourselves. One way I like to look at it is more at like expansion, and that our consciousness is expanding or ascending, if you want to put it that way. But security. So what I'm really feeling is that, like, we're really safe to expand and change. And there's that fire, the torch. Okay, let's see what else we get here. Because it's so interesting. Because I want to say, like, all right, well, it's so important to, like, be in a body and the physical aspects and reel it in, right? But it's interesting, these messages feel like they're giving us a little bit of leeway into really expanding. Freedom. So, okay, here's the other thing that was coming through that this card reminds me of. There are these, like, when you're initiated into the mysteries, it's sort of this Dionysian force, like the force of liberation, the force of freedom, the force of breaking out of the cage. But what do you need to be able to do that in a way that is responsible? And I would say it's understanding natural law, having an understanding of what goes around comes around. And if you don't understand that, you can really be playing with fire. Hopefully whoever is watching this has a good understanding of what natural law is. Oh, this is so interesting too. I just zoomed in. There's a dragonfly bringing this woman the key. And I find that really interesting because the dragonfly actually transforms when it wants to. It has a different process than butterflies. Butterflies, you know, have a certain time frame, but the dragonfly nymph transforms into the mature dragonfly when it chooses to. So it's sort of like saying you have the key and you can choose freedom and liberation when you want to. And that it's an internal journey. It's not based on what's happening externally. This just flipped out. Good luck. There's so much goodness flipping out here. This is so interesting. Okay. I also felt the archangels calling me. And so I pulled out my archangel deck to see what archangel we can call on to support us in this energy. Man, this is fascinating. I see the little ladybugs. That's been a symbol for me and my friends lately. Sophia. And you see the Vesica Pisces. So again, we have this symbolism of the opposites coming into unity and finding that middle path, using your divine wisdom to find that freedom within yourself. She has the symbolism of the Miraphors and the goddess as well. She has the alabaster jar and the rose and the skull. You see that with Mary. It kind of reminds me of Mary Magdalene with her the scarf and the blue dress. This reminds me of the cover over the Chalice Well in Glastonbury. Let's see what this card says. Sorry about that. Still human over here. 38. Sophia, unconditional love. Often linked with the female ascended masters of compassion, namely Isis, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, and Kuan Yin, Sophia, whose name means wisdom in Greek, is the angel of unconditional love and the wisdom of the heart. Said to be one of the first archangels created, Sophia belongs to the order of the seraphim and covers all aspects of love, including maternal love, familial love, romantic, and unconditional love. As with Rick Biel, you can call upon her for help with any issue connected with the heart, for this nurturing, gentle angel can resolve misunderstandings, heal heartbreak, and help you find your true soulmate. But this humble ancient being rarely takes credit for her work, preferring to stay in the background, subtly encouraging peace and universal love for the planet. She watches over avatars, so if you have pulled this card, you may be one of the few on the Bodhisattva path of compassionate service to humanity. Depicted as a pregnant Mary Magdalene in her card and known as the Heavenly Mother, she is also the guardian of the zodiac, who births the essence of the stars on Earth to help us see the bigger picture. That's so Uranian. She loves without judgment and can teach you to have compassion for yourself to overcome past issues. Her lesson that if we can love ourselves, then we can fall in love with the entire galaxy. I'm going to read that again. Her lesson is that if we can love ourselves, then we can fall in love with the entire galaxy. In the Bible, she was said to be crying over man's reluctance to listen to her wisdom, but perhaps as more and more people on the planet begin to awaken, she will get her wish. The color I associate with Sophia is an almost cosmic, luminous, pearlescent diamond light, like the moon with flashes of pink and deep magenta, the ray of the universal heart. Do not fear the depth of your emotions, nor the heights of your exuberance. Humanity is undergoing a shift. Find your inner sanctuary as your emotions deepen and soar. That's pretty amazing. So maybe your Uranus is triggering this like heart energy. We also just went through a Venus gate of the heart chakra. So I'm feeling like perhaps humanity is undergoing this sort of heart opening, heart chakra upgrade, where perhaps we can see from a higher perspective and have more compassion and empathy for each other. And then I wanted to pull one from my Atlantean deck. Wow. I'm always blown away by the cards. I don't think there's ever a video where I'm not like, wow. Ooh, manifestation. 2. The 2 become 1. Seeing the Vesica Pisces with the 2. We attract what we desire, and we desire what we attract. So we're coming into this Venusian energy again. And something that keeps coming up with my friends, they'll have these decisions to make. And I just keep saying, well, just go into your heart. You know, like, I think we're so used to trying to figure things out with the mind, that we forget to just take moments to sit with ourselves and like really go into the heart and ask what the heart wants. And this is also making me feel like focusing our desires. Wow, there's a lot coming through for this card. So it's like I was talking about earlier, where when you align with divine will, your desires sort of already inherently are divinely aligned, because you care about humanity. You are taking care of yourself enough that, and respecting yourself enough that you know when your cup is full enough to share or when it's not. You come into these devotional practices where you are doing your best to take care of yourself so that you can spill over and be of service to others. So there's some like major heartfelt energy, and I honestly feel like I'm being like enveloped in this warm, cozy blanket. I feel like these wings are coming around and just enveloping me. And because we had this Sophia and Mary energy come through, which has been really, really prominent with me since I started learning more about the goddesses and the priestesses, is like she wants to be heard. She wants to... We're finally ready to hear her. We're finally ready to receive in that feminine way. But yeah, I wanted to pull a card from my rose deck because she's here. Okay. Healing is happening. You're not broken. Trust the process. It's safe to soften. Wow. So... pretty much just confirming what I was saying there. And I see like the triple goddess behind this woman. It feels like there's generations around her. This actually feels like the Shining Ones. That is interesting. It looks like many women with the scarves on their heads. I don't know if there's an actual term for that garment. If anybody knows, please let me know. And then I see, it almost looks like a cat face in the rose. But I know this message comes through a lot, that we are so supported, and that we can soften and allow ourselves to be supported. So it's really, really interesting how I came in on this live with this message that actually I feel like was leaning more towards a masculine type of energy. And we are now swinging into the feminine. And so where the beauty is, where the sweet spot is when we can really come into that union with the two. We can soften, we can allow ourselves to be guided, and then we can take action on that guidance and not just wait all the time, right? Like, yeah, there's times for waiting for the next step, but we're in Aries season. Like, it's time to step forward. And even if it's slowly, that's okay too. Like, even if it's these little steps, it's like, take your guidance, take your divine inspiration, and step forward. Like, just being sure that you are still your own authority and using your own free will to create. Because that's why we're here. Like, in my opinion, is to really remember who we are, embody our soul, and become these human beings that are, ensouled, enlightened, creating a better world. And hold on, this brings me back to that card I just read. You're not broken. That one. That's what I heard. You're not broken. Trust the process. It's safe to open. Healing is happening. Guess it's about really trusting right where we are, because they're really it's so interesting. I feel this energy of again, the confronting of the inner duality, the struggle between when do I surrender, when do I take action, and finding the middle point. So I think if we, when we're able to do that, that is a form of mastery. But even when we're not, it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're right where you're right where you're supposed to be. We're all in this path. The ascension, or whatever you want to call it, expansion, the elevation of human consciousness, it's inevitable. And there are, it's not like everybody is going to be on that same path. But if you're listening to this right now, you're on that path. I'm going to pull one more. Let's get a card. Let's just get a card for a conclusion on this reading. Stillness. Wow. I think I just pulled this one again recently. And look at the auroras, the lights, like people have been seeing like crazy. I feel like what this card is sharing is how like there's so much energy coming in, and we're being seeded with like so much galactic and esoteric and ancient knowledge, and coming into this sort of moment of timelessness. Like, that's something else I've noticed a lot of people talking about, is their past lives, parallel lives, soul aspects, and it's in this stillness that we can really recollect a lot of those things. We can get in touch with our heart, like I was talking about earlier. And when we get in touch with all of these different soul aspects, we learn lessons. Like, there's lessons in all of those stories. And it can really help us get clarity on what we're doing right now in our life, and why things may have played out the way they've played out, how we could do things differently, how we could utilize past gifts again, and really help us to step into our power. And it's a lot of that, like, it's that feminine power that we're remembering. So, a battle between swords and torches. So interesting. Let me know what you guys think, if any of that resonated for you, and I just love to hear what you're feeling, because I've never, like, in the past 2 days, I've never really felt this much of like a balance. Like, I've felt sort of a homeostasis at times, where lately things have been like very up and down, and there were just like a couple days where I was like, wow, I feel grounded and I feel connected. I feel I don't feel way up here in bliss. I don't feel way down here in like stuckness. Like, I just felt good. And so I think there's an opportunity in those moments to just like be like, remember, what does that feel like? Because that's like the state that we strive to live in when we're living here on this earth plane. And there's just so many changes that it can be really hard to find that place. So yeah, it's nice to settle into it. It's nice to settle into it when we do feel it. Settle into stillness. So I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and please do let me know what you think or what comes through from this, because it's an interesting one. All right, see you later.